So actually, I'm a health coach and life coach. There is a difference between the two, actually. A health coach really is probably someone who is a master of habit change. And so through our lives, we continue habits, I suppose, that might not be as healthy as they should be in our lives. And so we challenge that really and support and integrate tools that will help you change your habits so you can live in a healthier, more vibrant way.
So when you're talking about habits, are you talking about physical things? I don't know, like poor eating and smoking and things like that?
It could be anything from the way we talk to the way we act, to the way we eat, to the way we exercise. Because most of us in our lives would do things habitually. As humans, we love habitual things. We spoke earlier, didn't we, about drinking wine in the evening every night. And so it's habitual. We just do that.
Can I just point out that wasn't with me,
No.
that conversation, because that's not something I would do.
No,
obviously.
it wasn't with you. It was about you.
Thanks for that. So about how did you come to this then, Kat?
How did I come to Cochin? Well, interestingly, I was a nurse for 21 years. I was a children's nurse and lived most of that time in Australia. I was an intensive care nurse, worked in quite a highly stressful area. And through my own, I suppose, journey of learning through life, relationships, having difficulties in relationships, health, life, bringing up children, I learnt a lot about myself and the way we can kind of heal ourselves and move forward. And so from that, I decided, I suppose, not unlike Rona, that it was time to make a change. And so I took a big leap of faith and decided that I would train to be a coach. Yeah.
And what's involved in that sort of training?
And so I train with the company or a group of people called the Health Coach Institute, actually in America. And so they're an amazing institute that train health and life coaches through a program. Yeah, it's incredible.
And I guess you learnt a lot about yourself during that learning process.
Of course, yeah, because a lot of the practical side of coaching is coaching each other. And so we get taken through the programs that we deliver to others. And so it's quite powerful and life-changing and a lot of introspection, which was really, really good. Yeah.
I'm intrigued to know what you were like as a child, because although you have changed your career to an extent, everything you're talking about involves helping people.
Yeah.
Were you always like that as a child?
Yeah, I think I was. Yeah, I'm actually one of a twin, and we're very, very similar, and she's a nurse too. And I think actually in a weird kind of way, we're kind of conditioned. I talk a lot about this actually with people and friends, is that my mum was a nurse, my nan was a nurse, and so you carry that on. And actually, it was quite a challenge for me to come out of nursing because it's kind of all I knew. My mum was a children's nurse manager, and that's how I lived my life. I was in a children's ward, and so, yeah, you end up learning to help people through others. Yeah.
And we talked just off air before about when you were in the nursing profession and how you had, because I was saying, gosh, it's incredibly brave, especially to be a children's nurse, because it must be quite emotional. Initially, you were talking about how you sort of dealt with it on a practical level, so you were able to get through it then. But I was really intrigued by a conversation you had with someone that was almost like a life coach to you in a way.
Yes, it was. Yeah, that was quite enlightening. So thank you for that. Yeah, I was talking about when I lived in Australia, a social worker that I was working in intensive care with me at the time in the Royal Brisbane Hospital was doing a piece of research on how working in intensive care affected the staff and their families and their life. And she actually came to my house and did an interview with me. And actually, it was such a powerful interview. It was actually, now I look back, it was like being coached, and I was a mess. And not that coaching causes you to be a mess, by the way, but it was almost her question asking that enveloped and opened up what I probably hadn't realised had affected me in my life as regards to caring for children in intensive care. So it was a real life-changing moment about how working in that kind of area had affected my children, my partner, my life, the way I functioned. So really, thank you for waking me up a little bit there, because she probably was the first kind of coach I'd experienced. But it just proved to me and showed me that it's quite powerful to ask questions, to open up. The things that we might hide or not realise that are there.
And that's the crucial thing, I think, about life coaching. It is about asking questions and almost helping whoever it is you're coaching find the answers themselves.
Yeah, because as a coach, we always hold dear that the person we are coaching has that innate ability inside that they absolutely know what it is they need to do, and are very capable.
How would you describe your typical client then?
For me, this last year, it's probably the person who is a leader, someone that's in business, someone that is very passionate about their work, possibly a professional, but actually is very fatigued, lost energy, lost motivation, and feels stuck, actually. This kind of stuck kind of feeling, and just can't really see a way out of it. Not that element of depression where you feel depressed, but just feeling like somehow there must be something more. So yeah, very much that kind of client.
And it's interesting you mentioned about depression, because I assume as a coach you have to know your limitations in dealing with certain mental health issues.
Absolutely. And I think if that was to arise in my profession, that certainly would be a referral to a GP or to get some extra support. Yeah.
It's interesting that you're talking about leaders and business and that sort of thing. And there was something recently talking about the fact that this time of year, it's one of those crucial times when a lot of people decide they just want to give up what they're doing and change their careers. Do you think that is sort of often the right course, or is it simply because, as you're saying, we just actually need to look at who we are and what we are, and we could probably carry on with what we're doing if we just sort of looked inside a little bit more?
Absolutely. Excuse me. I think actually, I often talk about this. In fact, I was talking about this in the pub last night at the Highwayman in Peel with someone, an amazing lady I was talking to. Often in our lives, whatever is going on for us at that point in time is actually a mirror of what is going on inside. So if in your life there's something going on for you that is not great, we need to look at inside. So what is it? What is it about that situation for you? What is it reflecting back at you? Is it a choice you've made? Is it it's hard to explain. So yeah, whatever your experience in life is a mirror to what is going on inside. Maybe something that needs looking at, something that needs healing, something that needs exploring.
How much would you say sometimes are issues caused by almost a fear of not measuring up to everyone else? Because we talk about this so much, don't we, in this day and age, that we see people's lives played out on social media and we compare ourselves all the time.
Absolutely. And in coaching, we like to call it compare and despair. Don't compare and despair. Yeah, absolutely. We do try and measure ourselves up to other people, and actually it's a real... It's quite a sabotagey thing to do to ourselves, and it keeps us stuck, actually. And in coaching we can work through that. Often in some things in our lives we do sabotage ourselves, but actually without realising.
What do you think of this latest craze towards self-help books? So, sort of trying to coach yourself in a way.
Yeah, why not? I think whatever resonates with you at the time, go for it. Because like any path in life, we might make a decision and it doesn't work, and that's great because it takes you to a different place. And so whatever it is you feel called to do it, because you're going to learn that it's either something you wanted to do and you really enjoyed it, or it isn't.
I'm guessing that just surrounding yourself with more positive things, like positively worded books, has got to be a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Why not?
There's a plethora of them now, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's so many wonderful things out there. And the great thing about them when you look at them is now they all seem to have a common thread. So you're not sort of getting loads of mixed messages. There seems to be a real common thread in a lot of these books that's sort of guiding you towards, sort of a lot of it's to do with mindfulness, isn't it? And sort of maybe a bit of meditation, as well as just finding happiness no matter what situation you're in.
I think a lot of it seems to be about the fact that realisation that it's not the world making you unhappy, it's how you're perceiving the world is quite a powerful thing maybe to realise.
Gosh, you sound like you've read some self-help books, Beth.
Do I? You've unearthed my secrets. A little bit of an addiction, Kat. I don't know if I should be worried.
I think it's a great addiction because it has you thinking, doesn't it?
I love them.
I think, we often think we're being controlled by the world around us, but what if we were actually in control? What if we could make any decision we liked and be empowered by that? I often talk about honouring your yes and no's. So, sometimes we have these big goals in life, especially in the new year, where we feel like we stop drinking wine straight away, we must lose 10 stone. I bet that's a bit over the top, but you know, and somehow we fail, of course, because the goals are too big. What if we just made it real simple and we decided that whatever we liked, we said yes to, and whatever we didn't like, we said no to?
Sign me up.
Yeah. You know,
more Prosecco in that corner.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a time and a place for that too. And I think sometimes saying no to things is a great thing. It's difficult to start with, I think, because often, especially for women and especially mums and people that have been nurtured and conditioned to be carers, we find it very difficult to say no. So it's actually learning to say no with no excuse. It's because it's not what we want to do. And once we do that, our time increases and relationships, we have more time for better relationships or the people we want to spend time with.